We were looking for a house back in 2023. We were looking to move from an apartment to a house in this area, and we actually saw one online which wasn't this house, but Martin Gerard at the time said to us that if you like the one that's online, you need to come and view this one. So we hadn't seen any pictures, we didn't know what was going on. They actually showed us 3 houses that day, and this was the last one that they showed us, and we absolutely fell in love with it. So we did our utmost to try and make sure we could obviously have an offer accepted and move in. They were really helpful in terms of guiding us on the price and what kind of previous activity had happened with the seller at the time. So we were able to get our offer together, and we also agreed with them to have a really early exchange, which was really helpful for us, so that we could have the property secured before we moved in. So that was end of 2023, and then we've been here for a couple of years, but we've decided that we're going to move back to Sydney. So in that process, we were like, well, who else are we going to sell the house with? It's going to be Martin Gerard. So went back to Craig, told him the news. He couldn't believe it. And yeah, we just decided to put the house on the market with him. That was end of 24, would that be right? Yeah, so basically went through that kind of same process, but in the opposite way. And I think we had interest in the house before it even went up online. So they'd kind of pre-arranged people to come and have a look, and we were actually on holiday at the time that the viewings happened, so Craig and his team managed all that, which was great. Yeah, we got a buyer. I think he said it was the first person to actually view the house at that time. We accepted their offer, and yeah, we've just been delighted with the process.
They went above and beyond, and I think as soon as we re-engaged with Craig the second time, we obviously already had that relationship, so we kind of just picked up where we left off, and it just felt really, I don't know, I think there was just a lot of trust between both parties, so we kind of hit the ground running straight away. We never had to chase Craig. If anything, he was, constantly updating us. Just again, went above and beyond with communication. We were never in the dark about anything, and we'd given them our timelines, which did change. Originally, we were hoping to move around March time, so if you think about end of the year to March, that's quite a quick turnaround. And Craig just said, okay, that's fine, we'll do it, we'll make it work, and they delivered. So yeah.
And in terms of how we communicated with them, they set up a WhatsApp group, so the person that was selling the house as well as Craig were all kind of on that chat. So whenever we had to speak to them,
for like booking
really easy
viewings and stuff,
just on WhatsApp. So, and then they're always a phone call away. So yeah, really that was one of the best parts of the process. I think we were never chasing, never having to,
And they were really respectful of our time. So we were on holiday for the first week of January, and Craig sort of was giving us lighter updates, and then also was able to manage the expectations of those viewing the house, because he didn't want to put pressure on us whilst we were taking some time out, but also he was cognizant that he needed to push the process on. So I think he really kind of got that balance right in terms of knowing when to communicate and sort of how to communicate with us, versus also kind of keeping that process alive and very much pushing it forward so that we weren't then disadvantaged in any way.
I'd say that the personal touch was there. We actually met the previous owner of this house, and when we came to buy it, and we could tell that they were very close. So we kind of maintained that relationship, I think, with Martin Gerard and Craig in particular. He came round to the house a few times. Like, he helped us when, as I say, we were on holiday. He came in and changed their heating settings, and they did go above and beyond. And just made the process really, really easy for us, and we did feel that we were getting a special service.
Yeah, I think Craig as well, he always leads with honesty, and from the get-go for us, I think we just really respected that, because it's not an area that we have a lot of expertise in. We bought this property for the first time, just shy of 2 years ago, so we really had to rely on Craig and put that trust into him, and I think he sees that, and he knows that he has to sort of educate his clients, but also give them that reassurance that he is the right person and he does such a good job. We just instantly felt reassured because he was able to answer all of our questions. Like Paul said, he was able to deal with things for us, and those personal touches then enabled us to just relax and just let him do his job. We were never given a reason to not trust Martin Gerard. I think, like Paul said from the beginning, when we decided we were going to sell this property, it was a really difficult decision for us because we loved the house. And so we were really conflicted with whether we rent it, whether we sell it. But we had such a sort of lasting impression from our exchanges and dealings with Craig and the Martin Gerard team. As Paul said, it just made so much sense to go back to them as a starting point, and it all then just sort of went from there. So when we first re-engaged with Martin Gerard the second time, it was actually just to have a conversation, to just get some advice, because we really, again, coming back to that word trust and rated his experience and his opinion, but also we felt that he knew us quite well by that point. So we had someone who had that kind of personal and professional opinion that they could apply to our situation.
Yeah, and when we were thinking about moving, as Hannah said, we were thinking about renting it out. So we got some really honest advice about what that would look like for us compared to the kind of the seller's market, and that kind of helped us make that decision. So yeah, we took Craig's advice at every turn pretty much. He guided us on that, and every decision's been the right one.
The marketing was brilliant. We actually, because of how quickly we were sort of selling the house after buying it in sort of grand scheme of things, we were cognizant that the house might not look that different, but they gave us some really good advice, and it was around Christmas time. We had Christmas trees up, so we even had conversations that if it were to go on a bit longer, that they might take some other pictures to make sure that, again, we just were giving that really realistic shot of the house. They even talked about like the weather for like the garden to make kind of sure that it looked the best that it could look. So again, they gave us some really solid advice to make sure that we were in the strongest position to sell the house, which I think as homeowners, and particularly relatively new homeowners, you don't think about these things. You just think, okay, we need pictures for an advert, let's just get them done. But yeah, they came in with a video as well. So they did that kind of almost like interactive video, I think it is. And that was something that when we bought the house, we remember thinking, wow, this is so impactful. So again, they did that for us, which I believe is one of the best ways you can market a house. I think those static pictures are, like you say, traditional and needed, but the videos is what I think people really want to look at these days. So yeah, that was great.
Yeah, because sometimes you can't get a full sense of what the house is like from the static pictures, and you don't get every room. Whereas the video kind of walked you through the whole house, and you got to see the kind of scale of it, and all the different kind of areas. So yeah, I think that was quite good.
Yeah,
we enjoyed that part.
Brilliant local knowledge. So actually, when we came to sell the house, Craig taught us things about our area that we didn't know. So particularly things about like school catchment. We didn't realise that the road was cut in half, for instance, when it comes to the catchment area, and we were actually in the catchment for a brilliant school, and that would be a great selling point, and we had no idea about that. So again, coming back to that knowledge and that education, the whole way through, Craig was able to, teach us things about the process, about our house, about the area. And they definitely did teach us things before we bought, because we wanted to know about the area we were moving to. But there's a lot to learn. And, in the short time we were here, there were things that we still didn't know. So it was great that we had them to kind of guide us too.
And even in terms of the price to put the property up for, he was able to say, okay, well, this is sold, over the road, other side of North Finchley. So they kind of gave us that guide of what prices houses are going for. So we felt really comfortable with the price that we then selected, that we would get good buyers. And again, that turned out to be true. So yeah. I think we got excellent value for money from Martin Gerard, because we put, as I say, we put the property on the market in kind of December time, or we went through that process in December time. And by the time we come back our holiday in January, people have been in, viewed the property, and actually put offers in of asking price and above. Yeah. And we picked the one that we thought was going to be best for us. So yeah, when you tie in the fact that we got what we wanted in terms of the sale value, and we got that communication with Craig, we've had no kind of hiccups. Just the whole thing's been really smooth, and there's been nothing to say, oh, well, that could have been better, or we didn't get our value for money there. So absolutely. Just the fact that Craig offered to help us when he was on holiday as well. He was really keen to get this house sold. He felt like he was really our partner in this, and he wanted to get it sold as much as we wanted to sell it. He was very aware of our situation and the fact that we were going to Australia. So we've actually agreed to sell all the furniture with the house. we were very keen to get a buyer who wanted to do that. So that was.
I think he baked that into the sort of offer to try and see if there was anyone that would be interested in that. So again, it was sort of tailoring what is, you know, typically just a house sale, and then maybe there's those extras that you sort of sort out separately. He kind of tailored that to our situation and made it that we could get both done, because with an international move, that was really beneficial for us to have that weight off our minds. And then the only other thing would be, in terms of going above and beyond, he had a boot on his ankle after he broke his ankle, and he climbed up our stairs to fix our heating whilst we were on holiday, so that the house felt warm and homely when people were looking around. And again, I would never think about something like that, but those small touches and that kind of him just going, you know, above and beyond in that way, I think then enabled us to make the sale as quick as we did, because it is those small things that you don't think about. So yeah, there's probably more that we've probably forgotten, but definitely along the way, I would say there were multiple occasions where Craig did go above and beyond for us. Craig listened to every question, every need, every concern we had. We were straight on the phone to him. And it was very quickly either answered or resolved or dealt with in the best way. And I know we keep coming back to this word trust, but I think each time when we asked Craig a question or we needed something from him, whatever answer he would give us, we would take that, and we wouldn't question it. We wouldn't sort of argue with it, because we knew that he was the best person to be able to advise us. So yeah, the whole way I feel that we had that really great support from him. I think when it comes to my opinion or previous views on estate agents, my belief was it was very transactional. You know, you paid them to get a job done for you, and they would eventually get that done, and you wouldn't necessarily know how long it was going to take, and it could be quite stressful. Since working with Craig and Martin Gerard, my view on estate agents and the job they do has completely changed. I've realised that there are some incredible estate agents that go well beyond that. They provide such a tailored and specific service to you and, you know, your family. And for me now, when I do my sort of research in the future, and if, you know, we're not in the area and we can't use Craig, I would want to be looking at all those details to see if I could find someone that could replicate the service that Craig provided for us.
The reason we're doing this testimonial was because we felt that we had a really good service from Craig, and we feel that people should know that Martin Gerard and Craig provide that in this area. It can be stressful, and well, it definitely is stressful to sell a home, especially when you buy and sell within 2 years. Probably won't be doing that again. But Craig made the whole process a lot easier for us. We'd be happy to recommend them to anyone. And I know in this day and age, like having video testimonials like this is going to be really crucial in doing that. So yeah, just happy to support Craig.
Yeah, he deserves it, I think, is the short answer from me. I think he just put that hard work in. He made a commitment to us and he delivered. And so when we were asked the question, it was, I mean, I don't think Paul even checked with me. He just said, yeah, we're doing it. And I was like, absolutely fine. Really happy to share our honest thoughts on the process, and Craig particularly.
Anyone looking to buy or sell in this area, the first person I would say to speak to would be Craig. They've honestly just been excellent from start to finish, and they've handled every question that we've thrown at them. We've probably been quite complex in some ways, because as I say, we're bought and sold in quite a short period of time. We were thinking about renting, we're doing an abroad move, we're selling the furniture with the house. So they've been able to help us in every way, and I'm sure they would be able to do that for other people as well. So yeah, we've got kind of family that live local and close by, and the next time that they're looking to move, we'll certainly be telling them to 100%. Speak to Craig.